Hey everybody, I found another article, this time about Egyptology, and I would love to share it with you guys. I think it's super interesting because it involves a site where there weren't very archaeological discoveries up until now, and the area I'm talking about is the eastern Egyptian desert, also known as El Kab or El Kab Desert. And I'll put up a photo here. Right here, the actual site itself is called Tanaidba. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but in this visual here you can see the Nile River and what is obviously the Nile River, where Luxor and Armant and Esna and Edfu are, and then toward the east is a mountainous region outside the Nile Valley, which they referred to as the El Kab Desert. And what I want to talk about today is what a group of researchers from Yale, headed by Yale. So the researchers are part of this group called the El Kab Desert Survey Project, which is led by Yale Egyptologist John Darnell. And the project consists of Yale researchers, the Royal Museums of Art and History Brussels, and the Ministry of Antiquities and the Inspectorate of Edfu. So these groups got together and they surveyed an area called Tanaidba, a place with no known previously archaeological discovery. It's located east of the Nile. So here's the Red Sea right here, and east of the Nile right there. Yeah. So what the team found, they made two major discoveries which dated back to the pre-dynastic Egypt. What that means is Egypt before they became a conglomerate. Egypt before they became a single government. The team made two discoveries dating back to pre-dynastic Egypt. They found graffiti among other ritualistic images and a woman's burial site. They also made one discovery that dates back to the late Roman settlement period, which was previously unrecorded, which I won't go too much into. But it just proves that there was a lot going on even thousands of years after these things date back, which is pre-dynastic, over 3,000 years ago. The rock art that they found includes an image depicting various animals such as bulls, giraffes, and a large adax, which is an antelope. The picture is right here. Yeah, that's the antelope that they found. Giraffes, and a large adax, Barbary sheep, and donkeys. Another image that I don't have depicts a long line of boats, which is interesting. They were probably riding boats up and down the river for a long time, I'm sure. These images, according to lead Egyptologist John Darnell, date back to 3,300 BCE in the pre-dynastic period of Egypt. Darnell says the imagery and style is what has been found in the Nile Valley. So it's the style of, again, they found this miles and miles in a different region in the eastern desert. And up until now, these people, they weren't sure if they were part of the Nile Valley, the population, but now they're pretty sure that not only were these two distinct populations, but they coexisted together and shared culture, and they shared a very similar culture. And these works of art are reminiscent of the pre-dynastic days of the Nile Valley. So this is going to be a huge theme in this analysis, which is pre-dynastic Egypt, what was going on in pre-dynastic Egypt. Basically, this kind of clears the picture a little bit. Anyway, Darnell believes this indicates an occurrence of cultural mixing between the populations of the eastern desert and the Nile Valley. So, yeah, so he's building up a case for this picture that he's painting for us. The second thing they found were the burial sites of desert dwellers, which are the people who occupied the eastern desert of Egypt, with ties to the people had ties to the Nile Valley and the Red Sea, which, just as a visual, the Red Sea is to the east here. So if you look at the Eastern Desert, what's marked as the Eastern Desert, they're sandwiched between the Nile and the Red Sea, and within that region there were a large group of people living there. And they found one of the burial sites of this woman who's about 25 to 35 years old at the time when she died. And the researchers believe she was an elite of the Red Sea, whatever you would call the Red Sea Society. It sounds like a secret society, but the population living around the Red Sea. And he believes that she was an elite because she was buried with Red Sea shells and carnelian beads, which, you know, that's very high status. Her vessel or her casket, her coffin, sarcophagus, whatever she was buried in, was created in the Nile Valley, which according to Darnell indicates an interaction of the people between the two regions of the Nile Valley and the Eastern Desert. Very clear that these discoveries provide previously unknown clues to the religious and symbolic communication of the pre-dynastic Egyptians at a time before the hieroglyphic script was created. So yeah, that's another point that I forgot to mention. This all predates hieroglyphics. So this is even older than all of those weird symbols that people read from before, which is very, very interesting. However, not a lot has been found from that period. And the stuff that is found, who knows what the actual dates are. It might even be older. So another interesting bit about this study is how the researchers found what they found, which is very exciting. So the researchers used photogrammetric structure from motion (SFM) technology, which takes both 2D image sequences and local motion signals to estimate a 3D structure, and generated detailed 3D models of the rock surfaces. So this is very similar to if you've seen the previous episode about footprints, where they would take pictures at every different angle of the footprints and then recreate a three-dimensional image. This is very, very similar, except it's on a larger scale. We're talking about subterranean rock surfaces and geological complexes and stuff like that. And this new mode of analysis is really important to cutting-edge research for a lot of reasons, which I'll get into in a second. These models are then used to construct high-resolution images of each panel. So when I say they, I mean the researchers analyze each of these panels meticulously, and then they're able to come to conclusions from that point. This technique is invaluable, especially in an area under constant threat by thieves and miners. So this Eastern Desert area is very valuable to miners because of grave robbing, artifacts, and all the natural resources that happen to be there. So this technique is another reason why this technique should be used by anybody doing research in conflicted areas such as these, is because it cuts excavation and recording time down to 25% of what it was before. So it allows researchers more detailed material with increased speed and accuracy. That's huge. That means they don't have to spend as much money and time in a semi-dangerous place as Egypt. And they could rest assured that they're getting the best quality data and evidence in a faster amount of time, in a quicker amount of time. And I think this is great, especially if it can carry over to other excavations. Like, for example, the one that crossed my mind was the left paw of the Sphinx. It's all but confirmed that there's a cavity underneath, which is indicative of a chamber. They think there's a chamber under there, and I think this technology might be applicable in that case. Maybe in the case of the pyramids in Indonesia, where Gunung Padang is, that would be amazing. Which I think they're already doing something like that. I don't know if they're using this technology, but I do know that they're using ground penetrating radar. Mexico. South America, they're finding all kinds of complexes underneath the dense jungle there. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a trustworthy technique, Or do you think there's a lot of holes, and do you think it could be the evidence could be disputed? I would like to know, because I still have conversations with people who dispute radiocarbon dating, and I feel that it's a very interesting that I've heard. I am still inclined to believe the dates, although I do give it a larger margin of error. So let's say give or take 2,000 years or something like that. I'm cool with that. Some people think that's a big deal. I don't think that means radiocarbon dating should go out the window, but I think we could use all the different techniques we can get, so we can just cobble together an even clearer image of what was really going on back then. Well, thank you for listening. This was a really interesting read. I love reading about Egyptology, and I'll stay tuned for tomorrow. I'm gonna do another article. Thank you.